Welcome back to the Dairy Raid. And you ever had one of those days where you know you should probably write something, but you just can't get it out of your head to your hand and onto the paper, onto the laptop in this case? Well, today's one of those days. You know, it's been a busy week of catching up on Badger Spring storylines, but also for me personally, it's week one for my season coming up on Sunday. So been game planning all week, so haven't really had time to sit down and write something. But then, you realize we got this right here that we can just let it go straight from the brain to you, and that's what we're going to try to do today. So we're going to take a look at some of the spring storylines that we talked about in my spring preview a few weeks ago and talk about how some of them are starting to manifest themselves a little bit, and then also hit on a couple of the major talking points that we've been hearing in the last weeks leading up to coming back now from spring break. All right, so the first one that I want to talk about is actually about the defense, and we're starting to get a glimpse of maybe the direction that they're moving with the type of players they're using. Again, we have no video evidence to support anything that I'm saying here, and we probably won't until hopefully if there's a spring game. If not, it won't be until fall camp and week one. And that is the use of some of the players as a guide to what the scheme might be this year. I think the first thing that I want to talk about with that is it sounds like, reading the reports, that the Badgers are moving more towards a bigger nickel slot defender. And moving away last season, Jason Maitre, cornerback, and what we thought was R.J. Delancey coming in, that he would be that guy. He's a little bit bigger for a corner, but he would be that slot corner guy. And it sounds like they're using more safety types. Austin Brown being the guy that we're hearing the most of. He played in the bowl game. And with using a bigger slot defender, to me that signifies they are going to start using more zone coverage, because you're not expecting a bigger body to run with a slot receiver or a tight end, whatever. So they want to put a bigger body there to help funnel that slot receiver to the second level of the zone coverage. So that will be interesting to see. I think they would be great flat defenders and running, rotating cover 3, spiraling up to cover 4, whatever we want to do, and using that slot guy more as a box safety than a cover guy like he was last season. So that'll be an interesting thing to see. Another thing that we've been hearing a lot about with the defense is the emergence of Leon Lowry and John Pius, and what kind of a force they've been in the limited practice opportunities people have had to see them. And it sounds like they've been rotating, and the way that they're rotating sounds to me like they're both going to be occupying that boundary outside linebacker spot, the pass rusher. I thought maybe Lowry might get a look, and he probably still will, at the field side outside linebacker in a more run-stopping role, disruptive role on the wide side. That's a role that he played at Syracuse and would fit the system. And he probably still will in certain situations, but it sounds like James Thompson is going to get the first look at that, more the run-stopping outside linebacker with Lowry and Pius rotating. And then probably in pass rush situations, you're going to probably get both of them in there and either kick Thompson inside or just take him out completely and go with the down lineman that we have. So that will be interesting to see how that develops. Another coaching point, or another storyline that we've been hearing coming up to this point in spring practice, is the rotation of the quarterbacks in spring ball reps so far. And this has been talked about a lot because Braden Locke is getting QB1 reps. And to a lot of people, that is sending up a bad signal that, oh boy, Tyler Van Dyke isn't going to be our QB1? Well, no. That doesn't mean that at all. We have to remember that spring ball is practice. This is the biggest bye week of the season. They get 15 practices to install and reinstall and rep, to give them information that they can take through the summer to get ready for fall camp and then to get ready for the season. So who QB1 is week 1 of spring ball doesn't usually have much bearing on who's going to be QB1 in week 1 of the season. Using last year's example is what people are saying. Is like, Tanner Mordecai came out and he was QB1 from the beginning. And he was clearly the starter. Why isn't Tyler Van Dyke clearly the starter? Well, let's look at the situation that we had last season. Last season, you had the most experienced quarterback on the roster going into spring ball at Wisconsin. And we'll talk about the transfers here in a second, was Miles Burkett, a redshirt freshman who had game experience, garbage time in the wrong system. Bring in 3 transfers. Those 3 transfers all have air raid experience. Tanner Mordecai had 5 years of experience between Oklahoma and SMU, and then 4 years of air raid experience between Oklahoma and SMU, and then an extra year in a high-paced offense under Rhett Lashlee. And then you get Nick Evers and Braden Locke, both with a year of experience at Oklahoma and Mississippi State in the air raid system. So, from an experience level, Tanner was the guy who was ready to go right away. And it was clear. Like, that was the point. This spring, it's a little bit different. Braden Locke is coming in with experience, and he's proven that he's capable of playing in this offense in the Big Ten. I would be more shocked that he wasn't getting QB1 reps at this point than if he wasn't, or that he is, because he knows the offense. He has experience. He knows the players. He knows the ones way better than Tyler Van Dyke does. And talking about reps, we want quality reps at this point of the year. So if you give all the QB1 reps in practice, again, it's practice, to Tyler Van Dyke now, all the other ones are going to get slightly less quality reps because they're working with an inexperienced quarterback. Braden Locke gives you some of that experience. So that balances things out for the whole team as a whole. But then also, and the very key thing with this is Phil Longo and Luke Fickell have said this. This was the plan all along, was to divide the reps at QB1 because then it would allow guys lower down the depth chart, like Nick Evers, maybe Matt Toyer, to get reps with the 2s. And with them getting reps with the 2s, they get to work with a little bit higher caliber, both scout and with the group they're with, and the players that they're going to be playing with, more likely. And that is going to give the coaching staff an idea, are those guys looking to take a step forward? And it sounds like giving those 2 guys QB2 reps has helped start to solidify a little bit of the pecking order. Nick Evers is starting to take a step forward. And he's showing that he's growing, which is great. He's maybe developing into the quarterback we all hoped he was going to be, which is what we want, because it's all about development. Maybe Matt Toyer sounds like he's a freshman. And as talented as he is, he's a freshman. And the pecking order will solidify itself. And what you're going to end up with is a solid starter, a solid backup, and a number 3 that now they can even look at with Nick Evers to try to put a package together for him and get him some reps. Because I know they want to get him some reps. They wouldn't have brought him in as highly touted as he was without it. So the key thing here with these spring reps is, first thing, we are getting the information secondhand. and there's nothing to dig too deep into. It's about development at this point. Tyler Van Dyke will be ready, and he will be the starter week 1. No ifs, ands, or buts. Unless he completely tanks in fall camp. But they wouldn't have brought him in if he didn't. But it is more, this spring is about more than just him. It's about developing the quarterback room as a whole and the roster as a whole. And it's a chance to give the young guys a chance to get better reps with better people. And that's what we want to see. All right? And I think that's what we're going to end right there. We're back with spring, hopefully coming up through the weekend. I know hopefully by the time this video's out, they've been on the practice field here on Thursday and then we're going to get some reports. Hopefully see a little bit more videos. I'd like to get one of these little update videos out as often as I can coming up in the next couple weeks until spring is over. Again, my season starts Sunday, and I'm going to have games basically between now and the beginning of June, so my weeks might be a little off, but we're going to try to get you guys as much information as we can, as much content as we can, and fingers crossed, we're going to get film, actual game film of them repping this stuff in the spring, a real spring game. Who knows how they're going to do it this year with Camp Randall being under construction. But the more we see, the more we get to break down, and the more we're going to have here for you to digest. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.